special edition of Once Upon a Boot going on here. I have 3 former guests with me. We've got DJ White, Mike Rennick, Marcus Castro. We're going to do a special ranking episode. I'd like this to be the first of many that I do this style. So what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, it's going.
So we are going to take the 5 best and 5 worst feelings about being on a ship. So this will be very Navy heavy, but I think that a lot of these can probably go into other branches as well. So how I want to do this is each person will give their number 5 and we'll build up to the number 1 worst and best. And I guess we can either give examples of each one or argue those points, which I'm sure we'll end up doing anyways. So do you guys want to start with bad or do you guys want to start with good first?
Let's start with good. Bad is always funnier, so I say good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice
Good was harder for me. Like significantly harder for me to rank.
Right.
All right. So I guess I will go first for good. So my number 5 feeling for good is hearing Liberty Call on deployment when you guys have been waiting to pull into port.
Fair. That is
so
fair.
That's my number 5. That's a good feeling to get, and being able to actually leave. So not hearing Liberty Call and then, waiting, hearing Liberty Call and then being able to go out. So that's my number 5.
That was also my number 5 as well.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 5 for you guys? I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Number 1, I'm actually really curious if that's the case.
What's your number 5?
Okay, my number 5 was getting packages in the mail.
Wow. See, I have that higher on my list.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That's good. Marcus, what do you got?
Dude, my number 5 was getting relief from watch early.
Ooh.
You know how every now and
good.
again you would have someone, especially when it was that late, like balls to 2, or that the 2 to, what was it?
2 to 7.
2 to 7. Man, when sometimes just people were like, "Oh, I was up, like I just showed up," they would just show up like 15 minutes early or something.
Yeah,
dude, you don't know, just that little 15 minutes made all the difference.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, man.
That's a good one too. I have that as well. So let's move into number 4. I have getting relieved early on watch for that. And it's like you said, especially in the morning when you know that oh fuck, I have time to change my outfit, my uniform real quick, and then maybe get in line for breakfast. If it's like the early watch, there's that's such a good feeling.
I agree. That is a great feeling. But for me, my number 4 is waking up for midnight rations and actually having amazing food. That was like the best feeling in the
when
world.
It's chicken tenders and you can just pile on the fucking tenders left over from Burger Day.
Oh, and nobody else was there to worry about rations. You just get as much as you want. It was the best feeling, man.
That is good.
That's really, I'm pretty disappointed that's so low on your list.
Yo, what was the other, was it like the cowboy stew or whatever? I used to love that shit when they had rice and cowboy stew, and I would pile that on.
Yes.
I loved that.
I forgot that was food that they served on the ship. That was one of the best meals they had.
It really was. It really was.
What do you got for number 4, Mike?
I actually had mail for number 4. That was my That was my number 4. Mail day. Anyone who knows who's been on deployment, especially when you got something coming, it's always a good feeling when you see your name on a package, or you go to the shop and you see your package sitting there. That's always, I don't know, it's so goofy, but just getting your own package is a pretty good feeling. Or when you get the surprise ones, when your family sends you something. That was always nice too. I remember my mom sent me just a buttload of hot sauces. And as you know, the food isn't the greatest, so getting surprise hot sauce was always nice.
Did you guys ever see a package fall over during a RAS?
No, actually, I don't think so.
So I think on my second deployment, because they send all the packages over on those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And we lost an entire pallet.
Ooh.
And I remember my heart sank because I was like, fuck, if there was anything on that was mine.
Yo, actually, I think on the second deployment, I had the sickest Raz because I didn't do anything. And and I wasn't. And when they called working parties, I'm pretty sure I just was in Caesar 2 behind Sig Pro.
Oh man.
Oh, and that's solid.
Yeah,
that's solid.
That was wonderful. So yeah, so if a pallet did fall, I didn't see it. So hopefully, if I didn't get any packages, then that would explain why, I guess.
Someone we used to work with used to be out on the mail duty. I'm not going to say his name, but I remember one day he was super distraught because you know how we'd also get mail heloed in?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He had one of the bags or packages that got away from him and just got slit, like just torn up in the propellers because he didn't
Oh yeah, that was like a big
Yo,
deal.
I think I remember that.
I remember that.
A lot of people got in trouble.
Yeah,
they made me pull up the footage on the
oh my god, dude.
You remember that?
They were
like this alone. You record the aft camera, right? And I was like, yeah, I think so. And they made me open up VDDS and bring up the video footage for them.
Yep,
because they wanted to see who was responsible.
Yeah, that's tough.
Ridiculous.
Because you got paid extra for being on that, though, right? If you were on that team,
yeah, it was like what, $50 or something like that.
No, it was just like flight ops, right? It was just like the flight ops crew.
But I think it was
like a certain amount of hops. Like if like the helicopter, like if they landed on the deck like a certain amount of times a month, it was like $150.
Oh, I think you're
right. There's some shit like that. But the thing here was the caveat is like, yeah, that's great if it's the bare minimum. But there was times on deployment where you had all day, it was flight ops and those motherfuckers were just hopping.
True.
So it was like, it didn't end up making, I don't know, it didn't sound like it made sense or it was worth it on deployment because
especially
they
in
were
the
out
Gulf,
there all day
when it's fucking hot. Like, dude, I remember it was like $120 on the ocean one day, like 120 degrees, and they're out there doing flight ops in their flight suits, dude. Fuck that. Fuck that. I'll chill in combat all day with a jacket on. Fuck out of here with that. So, Castro, you gave your 4, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I think so.
Okay. All right, so let's move up. So number 3 for me, getting into your rack after a long ass day underway. Okay. Like the feeling of just climbing into your rack. Maybe it's a Saturday, you've been working all day, and then tomorrow, it's holiday routine. You don't got to wake up. Just that feeling of getting into your rack and just fucking chilling after a long day. Like I got the best sleep of my life on the ship for some reason. So for me, getting into the rack, closing that curtain and knowing that I had nothing else to do, that's such a good fucking feeling.
That's fair. That's really similar to mine, but mine is more of holiday routine and not having the first one.
Yeah.
Sleeping in is don't get.
You gotta get that.
When you get that chance to sleep in, it just feels fantastic. Not having to set an alarm, not having to worry about the first place.
Yep.
Chilling.
Yep. What do you got, Castro?
All right. So my number 3 was like, I feel like everyone had like a spot that they went to on deployment on the ship. It was like their little hangout spot. So first deployment was whatever, but second deployment, I ended up, for some reason, forward IC turned out to be my spot. And which is not an FC space at all, but that was like my favorite part of the day is when I could like just fucking crawl down to forward IC because nobody would think to find me down there anyways.
Yeah. And nobody would want to go down there. Shit.
I mean, dude, it was great. Like there was like 3 or 4 computers down there. Fucking, we were always playing like Call of Duty. Like it was sick. That was like my favorite part of the day. Like, and it turned out to be every day. Go down there at least for an hour or 2 or something, and so certain people couldn't find me, and just fucking it was chill, decompress. It was nice.
Yeah,
I dig that.
What I see was great. I loved it down there. I was so sad when I didn't work in there anymore.
That, and then like when I didn't hang out in the array rooms all the time, but when we tried to make an array room the spot, like that was cool too.
Yeah.
Like the fighting games and shit in there. Like that was
true.
It was just like obviously pretty weird hanging out in a big ass radar array while the shit's on.
And
like I know like they say it's theoretically safe, but it's still like in your head like this probably like we probably shouldn't be playing Xbox right next to this thing radiating, more likely. But whatever.
Yeah.
What'd you got, Mike?
So I had kind of ties in with DJs. I have tennis shoes. Which was part of holiday routine. On Sundays, you were allowed to wear tennis shoes as long as you weren't on watch. And that made the big difference to me. I mean, wearing those boots every single day, and then you had like, one day where you could actually wear your tennis shoes. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. It's the little things, honestly. But yeah, no, tennis shoe day was absolutely one of my favorite feelings. Especially because sometimes you'd wake up and you forgot it was tennis shoe day. So like you'd be in your boots, and then you'd be like at breakfast, you see everybody wearing their tennis shoes, and all of a sudden it would click, and you're like, "Oh, I get to go change." Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh! So maybe forgetting about tennis shoe day was even a better feeling because that was always a nice surprise. Oh,
that's the thing. Yeah. I don't think anyone who hasn't been on a ship is not going to understand the joy of switching from boots to tennis shoes. And how powerful that one switch. It's just tennis shoes. But when you're in boots all day, 6 days a week, and then you get to put on tennis shoes for the first time, it is like the greatest feeling.
So I got to say, on my second ship, they authorized slip-on boots for us as long as they were steel toe. And we found like $40 steel toe slip-on boots on Amazon. And we ordered them for pretty much like the entire work center. Better than sneakers. They were fucking. They would just slide on steel toes, and you buy like a slightly size up, dude, and you're just chilling all day.
Oh man!
So I rock those, and they authorized Bulwarks for us too. So I bought the engineering coveralls that have the flaps on the sides, so you get that nice little breeze.
Oh yeah, Bulwarks is definitely the way to go. Once you figured out what those were, that was definitely the right choice.
Oh.
Yeah, especially after when they try to like do those really weird coveralls for a while. That like the ones that like pretty much like
they were fire retardant, but if you bumped into them, they tore in half.
Dude, yeah, it was like everyone had like their shits, like their legs were like barely hanging on, and they were getting in trouble for it. But it was like they only gave us 2 pair.
Yeah,
there's no more. You can't buy them from anywhere. And they rip really easy. So, like, yeah, motherfuckers are walking around with these coveralls that were just torn to shreds because, but at least, like, the parts that weren't torn to shreds, I guess, could, suppress fire, I guess.
Exactly.
That's true. I mean, if you wash them enough, they kind of got soft, too.
Yeah.
But then they got so thin. It was it was like a double-edged sword. It
didn't matter how soft they were if your ass cheeks were hanging out. Like, it didn't matter.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure after you wash those more than like 2 times, I don't think they were fire retardant anymore, right?
Damn, I don't know.
Like, I'm pretty sure as soon as you wash it like more than like 2 or 3 times, like that wore off.
Yep.
I don't know. Didn't they say something? Well, didn't they say something about how we were just borrowing them too? Like, don't you remember that when they first came out?
Yeah, you had to sign them out. I never gave them back.
Yeah, like as if we were going to give them back after like 2 or 3 years of wearing them.
Yeah.
That was so weird. Yeah.
And when we first got them, you had to put the pins for your rank on because we couldn't get them sewn on yet. Yeah. So the whole premise is that they're fire retardant, but we're going to wear metal insignias on our collars. That we're going to button up to our necks when we're fighting a fire, as if those aren't going to heat up and burn the shit out of you.
Yeah, that was the same shit with the camel. That was like the same deployment where they were making people wear camel packs too.
Yo, fuck those.
And the camel packs were snatching like all the valves and like everything in a P-way.
Yeah.
So like this is just a bad idea all the way around.
And there were 2 different camelbacks that they issued out. There was like that big ass black one, and then there was the one with the blue straw.
That's right. There was a good one.
That was like half the size.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. We had those nasty hats too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The new caps we had to wear.
Oh, yeah. They were like Under Armour material.
Yeah, but they got gross after. Yeah. Those were. Do you guys keep any of your uniforms? Like any of your stuff?
I have my dress blues, and my NWs that I had to wear to like check out. But those are the only 2 uniforms I still have.
I have a cap, and that's it. That's all I have.
I do
and
have
a camelback.
I have on my hand cap. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a cap, and then on the Cole, they authorized us to wear bucket hats, so they got Cole bucket hats made on deployment. I still got, sometimes when it's really hot out, I'll wear that because it's just kind of nice.
That sounds pretty chill, honestly.
It was pretty cool.
That's cool.
But all right, let's move to number 2. So number 2 for me, I have getting packages on deployment, and the reason I did that is because I don't know if you guys remember, Ashley used to send these crazy ass care packages to me. She would like decorate the shit out of them, and they were just really cool. Plus, on my second deployment, that's where she sent me like a gender reveal care package.
Did the boat catch on fire after that?
It didn't explode. I opened it up, and there were like tag team title belts in there. So I was like, sick. Oh, it's a boy. Like it was pretty cool. So I think more sentimental number 2 for me is getting packages on deployment.
That's completely fair. I like that.
Yeah. What do you got, DJ?
For me, it's pulling into a new country that you never thought you'd. Like a lot of these countries that we visited, I had no idea that I was prior to the Navy. Right? So when you're pulling in and you're on sea and anchor, so you're doing the lines and you're actually watching the country show up in front of you and just seeing this view that you never would have thought seen. It gives you this like amazing feeling that you almost forget where you're at and what you're doing, what you're a part of, and you just get to be a part of the moment, and it feels fantastic. You get that sea breeze, see this country, you take as many pictures as you, and it's like, wow, I'm here and I get to experience this, and that is an amazing feeling.
Especially when you know that you'll actually get liberty.
Right, exactly.
Do you guys remember pulling into Suda Bay, the first deployment, the first time we did that? And I want to say it was the Canadian Navy pulled in.
Yep.
And they straight up like fucking parallel parked their own ship without tugboats. They dropped their own brow, and then the whole ship just emptied out.
Because they were behind us and they beat us.
We had like 4 tugs moving like 1 knot, just fucking watching them just get liberty, knowing full well that we probably had to clean the spy decks or some shit before we left. Or
oh man, yep, I do remember that.
Fuck me.
I do. I remember that too.
All right, what you got, Castro?
Dude, I had it and then I lost it. Shoot, because I was then you talked about the Canadian boat and yeah, that was hilarious. They did literally parallel park their asses and just they were gone. That was so funny.
They didn't even stand watch for the pier either. It was just us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
what?
We'll come back to Castro.
Oh no, wait, no, I did get it. I got it back.
You got
I'm sorry. Yo, whenever we would come out of River City and you get to hit that internet for the first time. Boy, like
Clutch.
Listen,
that's good.
I hate to admit it, but like probably had an unhealthy not addiction, but like fucking getting on the computer and like just talking to people back home and shit like that.
Hell yeah.
And in River City, like especially like because we had a couple long ones, like the second one that specifically we had, I think one that almost lasted a month or some shit like that.
You're talking second deployment?
Yeah, we had a really long one. Yeah,
we went into River City when you guys went into River City. It was when you guys fucking shot at that ship, assholes.
No, there was another one specifically that like we went into like a long one for like mission requirement type deal, and it was like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and it was just like, dude, this is fucking awful. And then, but when we got out of it, I was like, man, this is just beautiful. Like just a little, and then of course, like it was slow as hell because you had the whole ship trying to get on.
True.
But it was still nice. It was like, all right.
Mobile Facebook hitting F5 to refresh the feed.
Hey, Castro, for those that don't know what River City is, could you explain it? Because there's going to be somebody who's listening who's like, what is River City?
So it's like, it's when the ship, stops allowing
I guess outside comms altogether.
Yeah, like outside communications, like because we do have like internet capabilities on the ship. Granted, they're really slow. It's satellite, so it's slow as hell.
Yeah.
But sometimes they need the bandwidth for other things. Sometimes it's simply because like the CO needs to do like voice or like video comms with like somebody else. So they used to do it every morning. They would set their ship like River City, and it would sometimes be like 30 minutes, and sometimes it would be like 2 hours, depending on how long their fucking video conference was. But yeah, it just depended. It was different. It was different reasons all the time. And honestly, sometimes I'm pretty sure it was just to punish the crew. They legitimately would do that. They'd be like, "Fuck it, set River City," and then only like officers would have like the ability to like use Facebook. It was whack. That shit was awful.
Yeah, River City sucks.
Yeah, I remember we were pretty tight with the ITs, and they have access to see how long each individual person was actually using the internet and whatnot. I remember we'd go down there and they'd pull up like the top 5 list, and it was always the same usual suspects. Like I remember, I'm not gonna name drop that first deployment. There was one officer who always smelled really good. If you guys remember who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like she'd be in a room and you could just like you knew she was there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She was always number one. She was always number one.
Yeah. What's crazy is the fact that it's like you saying that, right? It's gonna make everybody think like, what do they mean that she smelled really good? No, like
we all smell really creepy right now.
Like,
yeah,
but it's the truth though. She
on
left,
deployment, yeah.
It was like she left almost like a fairy trail of pheromones, and you could just smell it no matter where you were, and you were just, she was here, and it was just crazy. Like I don't know how to explain it. I've never had someone in my life in general leave a scent in that you could smell. It was it was ridiculous. But I know exactly.
Simply say her perfume smelled really good.
There we go. That's probably a better way to word it. Yeah.
That's the less creepy version.
Yeah.
We're all on a watch list somewhere now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Fair enough. But you guys all knew what I was talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, we did. So what was your number 2, Mike?
Mine was being relieved early from watch. That was just such a great feeling. I mean, kind of what Marcus was saying, I think, earlier, is that especially when you didn't know it was coming, and all of a sudden, like someone's there, like 20 minutes, a half hour early to relieve you. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know, like, how do you even describe it? Or like, especially if you've stood like more than one watch during that day, you're just tired, and all you want to do is just get out. I mean, getting relieved early from watch is probably one of the coolest things a shipmate can do for you, and it doesn't happen a lot. Like it's very rare that something like that really happens. So it was always a good feeling.
Yep. Just reminded me, kind of sad moment. Holmes come out of nowhere. You don't watch. Standing east entry control points. I'm standing out in the front gate, standing there for a couple of hours, and I'm like 3.5 hours in watch or a 5-hour watch. And Combs came down, and he would just be like, "Yeah, I'm here to relieve you." And I'd look at him like, "You still got like an hour and a half to 2 hours. What are you talking about?" Because I couldn't sleep. I'm here for you. Hey, if you want to chat a little bit, we can chat, but I got you. And that was it. And he did that multiple times. And that was ridiculous. Rest in peace, Combs. That was like a crazy thing that he always did.
That's cool.
That's pretty fucking awesome. And building on the watch thing, let's go to our number 1. The only thing better in my mind than being relieved early on watch is looking at that watch bill and not seeing your fucking name on it at all. That's my number 1. I'm talking anything. We're talking import watch, a RAS, a CN anchor. When you look on that watch bill, and you always do like a double, triple take just to make sure, when you don't see your name on that watch bill, there is no better fucking feeling. You always keep it on the download too, so you don't tell anyone. Because as soon as someone hears, you hear someone like, "Oh, I'm fucking doubled up." You're like, "Oh, that's I'm not on there at all."
Yeah, wasn't that the worst?
Hands down, I don't think there's anything better than not being on a watch bill.
Oh man. So
there's always those people too who would ask you, they'd be like, "What watch you got?" And you're like, "I haven't checked the watch bill yet."
Yeah.
You didn't want to tell him. Oh, that was the worst.
Yep.
Yo, honestly,
Just
that
sweating
goes
bullets.
that goes right into my number one, which is very, very similar. It's hearing your watch station got stood down for the. Because honestly, getting set up, preparing for watch, and then finding out that your watch isn't stood up for whatever reason is the best feeling. You can't beat that.
Yeah.
All the stress goes away. All that anxiety about having to sit there for the next 5 to 8 hours, it's just gone. And I have so much time. I can do whatever I want right now. And there's no better feeling. Someone could have said deployment ended right now, but you have to stay and watch. And be like, they watch tonight. Whoo! I'm every single time.
But that was like your whole transit home. You get to watch all the MSS guys stand down there watch while you sat at RSC with no radar on.
Oh my gosh. There was one time in combat, it was me and 2 other people, and it was just us sitting there tired. It was terrible. Terrible.
What you got, Marcus? What's your number one best feeling?
Being able to miss ship's movement for like a school or something.
Whoa.
Right? It doesn't
Yeah, I never had that.
Exactly.
Right, so,
I never experienced that.
I know it's pretty rare, but like, yo, first of all, I'm out now. I got to game the system a couple times with this fucking school shit and like miss like an underway.
Oh, that's good shit.
Like go to like Surf Alpha or VBSS, or dude, I got to miss like a month-long underway to go to 2M school.
That's tight.
That's tight.
Yeah. And you know, so like I know like that's definitely kind of specific, and I feel like I know, here's the thing, is it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Like even though like you three like you guys might not have experienced it, like I know a lot of people that found a way to like weasel their ass into a school to like miss an underway, or even
I tried.
Or like miss like parts of deployment. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I didn't get it, but I know a couple people that got to like miss like parts of deployment for like a school, and they would get to stay stateside or fly stateside for the school. And
there was somebody on my second deployment that got to go to a school, and then they flew into whatever country we were pulling into a week before we got there. So they just got to like chill in a foreign country for a week without liberty restriction. Dude, that's so sick. Like, fuck them. Fuck them.
Damn.
What you got for number one, Mike?
So this is, I don't think you guys are agree with this one, but mine is no shave chits, not having to shave. That was
no.
That for me was the best.
I mean, DJ had a permanent
exactly
like yeah. I remember in boot camp, I had to shave twice a day because I would get yelled at all the time, and it's just. And then once you got to the ship, I don't know. I never shaved like before I joined the military, and then having to shave every single day. It sounds like I know a lot of people do it anyways, but I didn't, and so I absolutely hated that. Plus, I mean, it's no secret I like have no hair on the top of my head, so having hair on my face is nice to have.
Yeah.
You know? So when I had to shave my face and I had no hair, I did not like the way I looked. No.
That's fair. I mean, it is nice now not having to shave, so.
I love it. I was just thinking about that the other day. I can't remember the last time I used a razor like that.
See, I trim, but not, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so there's top 5.
Unfortunately. I'm like almost 28 and I still can't fucking grow a full face.
But that was nice in the ship when you knew that you didn't have to, you know,
I could
go all out shaving.
I literally went like a week without shaving and nobody would notice. That's like kind of sad, but you know.
One guy I went to A school with, I remember standing watch with him back in the barracks, and he got laser surgery on his face to remove to do like hair removal, and he had to do it 3 times. He did it just for the military. Like he was that convinced that he was going to stay in for the rest of his life that he was like physically getting the hair removed from his face so he wouldn't have to shave.
Please tell me
that's got to be expensive shit.
I only saw him after he did the first session, so I don't know if he actually followed through with the other two. But he was telling me about it, and he was super proud, and I didn't have the heart to tell him. But that's how dumb that is. I was like, "What are you gonna do in 20 years when you want a beard and you can't because you got that surgery for it?"
Oh man,
there's some dumb people in the military. So.
Oh gee.
All right, so
no one said coming home from deployment.
You know what? I had that, and I didn't know if that was cheating. That was
what is it?
I said
returning from deployment.
I feel like that's too. That's too like I had that as like an honor. So I have a couple honorable mentions that I wanted to say. So one is just returning from deployment. Another one is not knowing but getting into the chow line and realizing that it's burger day. That's a good ass feeling.
Wednesday, it was, you knew what day it was.
I know. Well, sometimes you wake up, you're like, fuck, is it like Tuesday, Wednesday? I don't know what it is. And then you're like, yes, it's burger day.
I was really sick of Burger Day and Taco Tuesday.
Well, fuck Taco Tuesday.
I hate Taco Tuesday.
I got to the point where I was like I can still smell both of those smells. Like, and I'm like, that shitty burger that they used on the boat, and then
yeah,
I can smell like the fucking refried beans and the rice and all that from Taco. Like, dude, it's just like it was cool for like a little bit, and even then, what was it like? Pizzas like were on Sunday.
Yeah, but the pizza was trash.
The pizza was trash. The only time it was ever cool is when they did like the division night, where like the division would go back and do it, and like some of those divisions made some fire ass pizza. And,
same
like,
thing
wings.
with ice cream socials. Like at first they were cool, but then I was like, fuck, man, like I don't want to sit on the mess decks and talk with the officers.
Yeah. Bro, I just stopped going to them.
Yeah, me too.
You just reminded me, and I don't know if you were there at the time, Derek, but this is a little bit of a tangent, but I have to tell the story now. Reminded me of one of the funniest moments that I've ever experienced on the ship, hands down. It was IHOP night or pancake night. And we're all going through, we're all getting our pancakes, and I'm late to the line. I don't know what's going on, but I'm late. So I finally get all my pancakes and everything, and I sit down at a table. Well, I sit down, and there's this line of the CE division, just all on the back wall. And as soon as I cut into my pancake, everybody goes, at the same time. And I'm looking around like, what the hell? And I like put the pancake in my mouth and bite down. They're like, yum. And they're all doing this in unison. And I am laughing so hard because I'm trying not to break. I'm trying not to give in because that's exactly what they want. And I take a drink. And they're like, and they're doing this for every single bite. Just imagine an entire division just in unison narrating your eating. And it was the funniest thing in the world where I looked at them and I couldn't hold it back. I couldn't even finish my meal because it was just too hilarious and they kept doing it. Oh, man.
Yo. Some of those CE guys on the second deployment were so fucking funny, dude.
Good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. That's fucking good. The other thing I have I have two more honorable mentions. Hearing your name on advancement results.
Yeah.
That was always a good feeling. And then fucking promoted. And then the last one, I almost put this as my number 5, getting down to laundry and seeing an open washer.
Oh, that's clutch. That was clutch.
That's how I felt about an empty gym.
Oh, yeah. Empty gym's good too. Empty gym's good too.
When you showed up to the gym and it was fucking packed to the wall with people, that was always a bummer on your day.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, can't do this because
that's true.
That's a really small gym to begin with. It's like 7 or 8 people in there. That's awful, bro.
Trying to do bench press and you got male booty cheek.
Literally, yeah.
Bad experience.
Someone's literally lifting like right above you or doing pull-ups. There's like just fucking,
yeah. What about lining up your haircut with Liberty? Like when you're about to pull into port, right about the time you actually need a haircut.
I was pushing it. I was pushing on that first deployment. It was pretty fucking hard.
With that lined up, and you could go to a real barber in a different country. That was always nice.
Yeah, in Italy, you guys came with me, and they didn't speak any fucking English. in that salon that we went to, and I just showed him a picture and pointed in my head, and it was praying that he cut my hair good.
That salon was fucking weird.
It was.
Yeah, I remember that. That was weird.
I remember something. I don't know. Like, I remember a barbershop, and I remember Italy. I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't know if you were there. I know Castro was with me for sure.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The best barber was fucking in Bahrain and the next. Those dudes.
Yo, they smack the shit out of your head.
They would get you right though, and they would get it out of your head. But for some reason, man, it made the haircut 10 times better because like it was like I was for like a Navy exchange haircut. Like I left like pretty satisfied. I was like, yo, like this isn't bad, and like considering like it was done by like a Bahraini person, I was like, yo, this is. Yeah, it was like they did the whole slapping thing, and they rubbed it down. I was like, man,
the first time he did that, I thought he was trying to throw hands. He like pushed my head forward and smacked the back of my head, dude. I was like, what the fuck?
Even like if you got like a haircut like out in town, it was even better. Like the weird
I'm
mall,
sure.
like the mall in Bahrain. Like I know a couple people like went out there and got like a haircut at the mall, and even better. But, yeah, I definitely agree. Getting those fresh haircuts in port were sick.
Yeah. So these were the good. So the bad is going to be a lot more fun. I had so many for bad.
So many.
Trying to put them in order was very difficult.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with my number 5, and maybe this one should have been higher because it really sucks. But when you hear them secure forward and aft VCHT on the ship.
Oh man.
So for anybody that doesn't know, that's essentially, like your plumbing on the ship. When they secure that, there's no using the bathroom, no using the head. There's no toilets, they're backed up. Like, and if you do like take a shit or something on the ship, it just sits in the toilet, you can't flush. And so that your berthing's going to be fucking gross. You know that you're not going to be able to piss or shit without maybe the ship rocking and then like the nasty ass water touching your ass cheeks while you sit on it.
That was the worst when the toilets would fill up because the system like when they stop it just fucking backs right up into the toilets. Dude.
And it would flood, and you'd go in and you'd see like a log of shit floating across the fucking bathroom floor. It's fucking nasty. So that's my number 5. Now that I'm saying it, that might need to be higher, but that's what I had for number 5. That sucks.
You just pushed it to number 1.
Like 20 more things. Like my list just fucking went up to like 25 instantly.
Oh man.
I was birthing PYC once when those toilets overflowed.
For birthing cleaners.
Dude, it was fucking disgusting. It was me, one of the GMs, and there was literally just brown water all over.
Yo, like. That reminds me, one time Castro, so you were POIC, and it was, I forget which XO we had that was obsessed with the smell of bleach. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Well, he was about to do like I think previously the toilets had backed up, so you were like, no, we're loading this shit up with bleach. You took like a bottle of bleach and you emptied the whole bottle on the floor to the point where my eyes were like, I couldn't fucking breathe. And you were like, nah, like we're going to pass birth inspection. And he came in and he was like, yeah, it smells really clean in here, guys. Even though there was like shit everywhere. You emptied like a whole bottle of bleach. So he just assumed it was clean.
Yo, I almost want to say it was Mr. Davis.
I think it was Mr. Davis.
Ironically enough, like, yeah.
Yeah, he fucking loved. Was he? Did he? I get things mixed up between my first and second ship all the time. But was he the one that would take his fingernail and scrape the floors?
Oh no!
All right, that might have been on the Cole. We had an XO that would literally scrape the floors in the shower.
Oh, that's disgusting. What is he doing?
That's fucking nasty. I was like, maybe he's never been in. Maybe he doesn't know what goes on in the shower.
I mean,
but
that dude.
It could have been him though, because I remember when
stuff, like,
I remember when I was working for Supply, like he was on his back, like underneath like the tables and the like, like where you get like milk and coffee and stuff. He was like laying on the ground, like inspecting stuff, like underneath it. So I mean, maybe he did stuff like that. So who knows?
There's some weird, nasty ass shit.
That is nasty. Imagine how many kids he has under now.
Oh, dude, that's fucking gross.
Oh.
All right, DJ. What do you got? What is your number 5?
Man, I feel like I need to make a whole new list now. I don't even like my list means nothing at this point. What like my number 5 was finding out that there's no more milk. Like now I gotta redo everything.
Well, that is when you didn't know if it was what was that? What was the milk substitute?
UHT. Yeah, that dehydrated milk substitute.
Oh, dude, that shit was gross.
Ultra high something. I forgot what it fucking
meant. That stuff never expired. But you make a bowl of cereal and you're going in there, you're going full in, only to get that nasty taste. And UHT tastes like spoiled milk. So if you want the experience.
I remember a story with you. You had just got relieved late on watch by your daddy. And
get the hell out of here.
you got to the mess decks and you were so fucking pissed and you poured a bowl of cereal with UHT not knowing, and you took a big ass bite and you threw your spoon down and you were like, I'm tired of this shit.
Oh man. It's because cereal is the one thing that you can just count on, right? You can't go wrong with cereal. Cereal is cereal. But then when you add in the Navy aspect to it, which is that UHT, it just ruins your meal. So getting relieved late and then going into that, thinking it's milk, that's a terrible experience.
It's like theoretically cereal is something that can't be fucked up because all you have to add to it is milk and you're good to go. And the Navy found a way to fuck it up. They found a way to fuck cereal up. So, BZ, I guess.
Yep.
Whatever.
All right, what you got, Marcus?
All right, dude. Like I said, like this top 5 instantly shot to like a fucking 15. But so my number 5, I guess, would be doing general quarters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drills.
All right. Yeah.
All the time, because first of all, they would be like 5 hours. Sometimes, like, especially, I forgot, there was a period in time where like they were purposely planning general quarter. Like, I think it was like every Friday. And it might have been like twice a week. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's like a big deal to like say what days they were doing it, but yeah, they were just doing these fucking drills all the time and they were lasting forever. And sometimes they were at night, sometimes they were during the day. They usually ran during a meal. So typically, I feel like you just skipped, like, I feel like they didn't really like do the whole like, oh, like we'll feed you. I think we just like kind of like just the shift was just like, fuck it, we'll just go through it. Like we'll just not eat. But yeah, they were doing these fucking drills like and just in the middle, like it was such a, like, okay, I guess some people aren't going to know, but like when you do general quarters drills, like all the hatches are shut, like you have a general quarter station, you're there, that's your watch station, you're on the net with somebody. Some people have pretty cushy GQ stations, and then like you have like the engineers that are like doing like damage control, and they're like doing like DC drills the whole time. And then like the people in combat will like probably like run like drills and simulations and shit. But all in all, it sucks for everybody because you're just in a hole, like you're just stuck in a spot.
Yeah.
For hours.
And you got to wear flash gear.
You got to wear flash gear at the very least. Like like honestly, like I feel bad bitching about it because the engineers are like doing DC drills. And, like, but like, even like the GQ, where like we had to do like mop level stuff and like wear like the gas mask and everything, like those sucked ass too.
And for those that don't know, general quarters it's like manning your battle stations. It's like, you're prepping for shit hitting the fan. And I have an embarrassing ass general quarter story. My first underway, no one smartened me up that one of the codes that they use for missiles is vampires. And I didn't know we were in a training team environment. So I heard they were like vampire, like starboard side. And I remember I looked at Jacob and I was like, did he just fucking say vampires? And Jacob looked at me and he must have realized that I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And he was like, yeah, you didn't know that underway? And I was like, wait, we're talking, that's not code. Like, we're talking vampires. And he was like, yeah, vampires. And then there's like, vampires incoming, brace for shock. And I was like, Jacob, there's fucking vampires coming on the ship. Dude, I had like a slight panic attack. Looking back, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? It's so fucking stupid. But at the time, dude, I don't know what's going on. Yo, Jacob gave me so much shit for that afterwards.
Remind me of my first General Quarters experience, right? So General Quarters, it's a drill. You got to get to your battle stations. Well, I operated the self-defense radar. Got to get there as quickly as possible, right? So in my mind, I'm doing whatever. They yell GQ. I'm thinking, up what I'm doing, get to my station, defend the ship. If there's a missile incoming, I got to defend the ship, right? So I'm in the gym. I first thought, run to my station. So I get into General Quarters. Everybody else got flash gear, coveralls, and all this stuff on. I'm sitting down in my workout. I just got shorts and a shirt on. And I get screamed at the top of the lungs. What the hell do you think you're doing coming into here dressed like that? Go down there, get changed. Mind you that this is my first GQ. I don't know what's going on, but I'm sitting there going, yo, I'm here to do a job. Like, why do you care what I'm wearing? If a missile hits the ship while I'm getting changed, you guys are just going to yell at me anyway. Man, that was embarrassing. Everybody's screaming at me, and I'm the one doofus in shorts walking in through the door, and I just changed.
I had that same exact scenario, which I'll talk about a little bit when I get to my other numbers. But what do you got, Mike, for number 5?
Let's see here. I had standing the petty officer of the watch when you know somebody important is coming on board.
Dude, ooh, that's good. I didn't think of that.
I would always hope that it was like a really good OOD.
Yeah. I didn't have faith in a lot of other people, so I felt like I always had to nail it. But then, like, especially when they tell you they're going to be coming, like, within the next couple of hours. And so the entire time, you're just, like, on high alert, like, looking for someone important. And you just, man, I hated that. When you had too much time to think about it, because you're reading through the notes and you're just trying to figure out how many bells you're supposed to ring and the title you're supposed to give them. And I hated that.
Fuck.
When it was
just anxiety.
People too.
Oh yes, yeah.
Or when there was an admiral walking by the ships, you had to wait until they were at the right point of the ship to ring the bell and say, I forget what you said. When they walked by, you had to say something different than if they were coming on the ship.
You're right.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I volunteered myself. Rover. I never stood petty officer because my anxiety for that was. I'm not even kidding. I purposely traded with people because my anxiety was too high. I didn't want to mess up. So I never once stood petty officer.
Wow.
Never. Not a single time. I did anything I could. I would trade good watches, 17 to 22, for the 2 to 7 just to get out.
No shit. I remember when I got to my second ship, they were like, oh, you're an E5 and you're not OOD qualified. You need to get every E5 on the ship needs to get OOD qualified. So I was like, fuck, I got to get OOD. So I got OOD qualled and I was the only one that actually got the qual. Everybody else was like, yo, yeah, this section leader talks out of his ass. He never follows up with anything. Sick. Now I was just fucking OOD all the time.
Oh, joy.
Yeah, I would hate that. No, thank you. That's too much responsibility. But I didn't like petty officer to watch, especially when you knew somebody important was coming. That was worse. That was just the absolute worst.
Yep. A good one, All right, so my number 4, I've got general quarters or any type of training team environment when you don't know it's a training team environment. So, like, I didn't know it was a training team environment for general quarters once, and I was mid-poop. And I heard the bells go off for general quarters, and I was like, oh shit. So I finished, I just gotten out of my rack from taking a nap, and I ran up, because at the time I was displaying combat. I ran into combat, same thing as you, wearing the shit I was sleeping in, because I was trying to finish going to the bathroom as fast as I could, and I got in there and just got ripped to shreds. So
oh man, that is
Go
ahead.
Where were you guys stationed for general quarters? I don't even know where you guys were stationed.
I was in combat. I was the display tech in combat.
Yeah, okay. I was also in combat.
I think I was GQ CSAL for the longest time.
I thought you were. Weren't you AWS for a while?
I was AWS for like a little bit, but I know probably like on the first deployment, but I know second deployment, like I was just straight up like CSAL, or I was like alternate CSAL. That was the spot.
Yo, alternate CSAL in a.
Yes, sir. Because
I was alternate CSAL in my second deployment. That was tight.
You just get to go in the back of the ship and just chill, and nobody really knows that you're.
It was right by VLS, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
dang,
that was the spot.
See, I thought I had a cushy one. I was in radio. That was wonderful because there's just like 8 of us guys down there, so it's a secure door. So we just sit and just shoot the shit the entire time.
And
I didn't hate general quarters.
For GQ was a good one too.
Yeah,
I hate you all. Me and Derek had it the worst.
Yeah,
City in combat, where all the captains walk through, just miserable, staring at a screen, not even doing anything.
Dude, I was miserable because I couldn't even pretend to do anything. I'm just sitting in a chair waiting for shit to break. So people would give me shit all the time. They're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I can't fucking do anything unless you want to break your console." Shit.
They would get mad at you for like trying to talk to like MSS or somebody.
Yeah. Whatever. All right. What do you got for number 4?
My number 4 is being voluntold for scenarios or ceremonies. Had no intention of being a. There was nothing worse than somebody coming up to you. Hey, this will be good for you. We're gonna have you doing this ceremony for this person who you never cared about. I don't want to do any of that. I don't care if it's quote unquote good for me. It's better for you, and I don't want to be a part of it. Hated that.
I will say I had one time that I got voluntold for something and it turned out to be awesome, but it was the only one time out of the 50 other times that sucked.
There is that chance.
That is a good one. What you got?
What was it? No, hold on. What'd you get voluntold to do?
Yeah,
so
in on the cliff like that,
right? Okay. So Fleet Week, Fort Lauderdale on my second ship, they made us like the first couple days we were there, we had to be in dress whites when we left. So everybody was leaving the ship in dress whites, and there was a group that was going to, I forget what they called it, where you had to go visit like schools and shit. Did you guys ever have to do that?
Oh.
No. They were sending a group of sailors to a local middle school in Florida to just, I guess, hang out with the middle schoolers. And me and my buddy were leaving the ship, and they were like, "Oh, perfect! We need 2 more people. You're coming with us." So we got voluntold to join this group that was going to these middle school just to hang out with middle schoolers. Like, fuck, dude, I don't want to do that. I thought we were gonna go get food and hang out in Fort Lauderdale. It was gonna be cool. And we're like, okay, I guess we're doing it. It ended up being fucking awesome because we stopped at this like awesome local breakfast place before we went. We got to the middle school. Dude, we played a dodgeball game with middle school kids, and it was basically like that scene in Billy Madison. We were just like pegging middle school kids with dodgeballs, and it ended up being a lot of fun. But that was the only time I was voluntold for something that turned out good. But
nice.
Yeah. All right, Gasper, what you got?
Oh yeah. Friggin' when okay, so like, even though I wasn't a combat watch, I like to hang out in combat all the time. And personally, there was a specific person when they entered combat that it would crush everybody in the room. And I feel like everybody in here knows them. But
I think I do.
It was just such a thing, dude. It was like everyone, like TAO, CSC, like every single person in combat will be cutting it up. And then like dude would walk in and everyone would just be like, fuck. Like, and you always knew it was like, who's gonna get it? Like he would go, it would just be like a different watch every time. Or if I'm in there because I wasn't a watch, like it would usually be me. But like it was just like, dude, that was just so annoying because it was like, you know, like everyone was having a good time. Like it would be every watch station. Like just damn.
Yo, he would affect other watch stations. He fucking called me up from Caesar 2 one time, and he was like, I need a display tech up here right now. I fucking get up there, and he goes, hey, shipmate, I need you to go get me a candy bar. I was like, what?
Whoa.
I was like, I'm on watch right now. He goes, you have a radio, right? I was like, yeah, but I'm not your butler. And he goes, well, now you're going to get me a candy bar and you're going to fucking pay for it.
I remember that. I remember that scenario. Yo. Oh my God.
And I was like, I'm not fucking going. And I think it got to the point where Jacob like happened to be in there and he's like, no, I'll go do it. I'll go do it. Because he was not about to. He's like, yo, you can't talk to him like that. I was like, no, fuck this dude. I'm not his fucking butler. I'm not walking around to get him fucking candy bars.
That dude he was something special, man.
Fuck
there
him.
was this one hilarious time where somebody walked in. I'm not gonna. He walked in and dude goes, "Hey, dick whistle!" And the entire combat.
He never called anyone by their real name.
Everyone in combat stopped and started laughing their ass off so much that he had to be like, all right. What I said was a little out of line. I didn't mean to call him a dick whistle." Everyone's losing stuff. I hated that guy, but that moment was...
Yeah. The other funny moment, I remember I was in Caesar 2, and obviously we had the same net as, CSC. And I'm not going to say who was CSAO at the time, but he told her something, and she was like, roger that. And he's like, roger that. He's like, last I checked, this is the fucking Navy. We say aye, aye. And then she goes, she goes, copy that. and he goes, are you fucking kidding me? Copy. He's like, are you fucking stupid? Get down here. And then she's like, well, I'm CSAO. He's like, I don't care. Get down here.
Wow.
Oh man.
But listening to that on the net, whenever he was yelling at someone that wasn't me, I'm all fucking in on that.
Oh man, the amount of times that we would dial into that net to make sure that we heard all the chaos.
Yo. All right, what you got, Mike?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can't stop thinking about that dude now. Mine was, let's see here, being relieved late from watch.
That's your number 4.
That's
surprised.
Your 4?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
That's my number 4. Being
curious,
relieved late from watch. Because it happened way more than you ever got relieved early.
Yeah.
You could probably argue you got relieved late at least once a month, right?
Like, that's why it shouldn't be number 4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was like me.
I specifically remember you, Rinnick, and White getting relieved late on watches, like import watches, all the time. I think we were all in the same duty section, and I do remember specifically you two were always getting.
Yo, I got relieved late on Caesar 2 all the time because a certain.
It's not that bad to get relieved.
It's not that bad, but I was always on the overnight watch, and then I still had to be up for fucking quarters because Chief would never authorize late sleepers.
Dog, nothing worse than getting relieved late on an ECP watch or fucking anything where someone had to get armed up. Dude, that was the quickest way for me to hate you if I didn't know you on the boat. It's the first time you get a pass, it's okay, first time I'm not gonna be, but dude, it happens so regularly, where if I was basically what I'm trying to say is there were so many people on the ship that I was neutral towards that I ended up straight up fucking hating just because they would always leave me late for watch.
Sometimes it was the armory. Sometimes it was the armory was slow as fuck.
Well, it was, but here's the thing is you don't know you're relieved late until it's 15 minutes after you were supposed to be relieved. That's when you're officially late. So that's when you can call up to the quarter that can be like, hey, I didn't get relieved yet. And they're like, oh, fuck. Now they have to go find somebody to go wake the person up. Now we have to wait for the person that got woken up to get their ass up, go to sometimes they were slow about it and they'd be like, well, let me go ahead and get ready and all this shit. So they'd go to the bathroom and take their time and brush their teeth. And then they'd have to go all the way to the armory and arm up. And then it's what was 15 minutes late, you just stood 45 minutes to an hour of their watch. Into the morning, and then it was also worse depending on if it was winter or summer and you were really hot or really cold.
Yo, I got stories when I get higher on my list for this because this is
that shit used to make me hate somebody.
Oh, hell yeah.
But I think it's even worse when it's not your ship relieving you, because when it's your ship, you at least kind of can figure out what's going on.
When it's
the
not
other ship, yeah. Or
when it's
ship.
a ship that doesn't know that they're taking the watch.
Yes.
I've had that happen.
I've stood 2 extra hours to watch because of that, because they couldn't find somebody to stand it.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Dude, I've almost stood someone's entire watch before waiting for them to come.
Really I've told somebody to go back to their rack. I told somebody because they came out. It was 3.5 hours in, and they came down. I was just like
3.5 hours.
3.5 hours. I told them I was just like,
Jeez.
no. I was like, go back. Go back. Just know that you're taking my next watch. Like next duty day, you have my next watch, and if you don't, we got a problem. Because at that point, I'm like, no, you're not coming down here to stand an hour and a half of watch. Get out of here. No, you got my next full watch. Back to back. You got.
I would have
my
made him
5
take
hours.
both. Fuck.
Like you said, for the most part, very neutral towards a lot of people. Liked some people, but quickest way to make you hate you.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Moving up. Number 3 for me is being doubled up on watch. Looking at the watch bill and seeing your name multiple times or even tripled, like first, third, and fifth. That's just like the worst feeling on a duty day, especially when you're supposed to be a quiet duty day and now you're doubled up and it just coincides that you still get fucked on the training too, or you don't get to sleep before your next watch. That to me just fucking sucks.
Yeah, especially if you didn't do anything to deserve it. Like,
yeah, you're like, why the fuck am I doubled? Oh, you're just more qualified. Like, well, fuck me.
Trainings were the worst too,
dude.
Such a fucking inconvenience in an already awful day.
They were never on a convenient time. They were never.
I mean, they were always after dinner, but it would be like you were just saying. It was like you could be doubled up, and then they would have it in such a fashion where you were doubled up, but you were off of watch during training.
Yep.
And 9 times out of 10, your section leader would be a cocksucker, anyways.
Yeah, especially when it was that fucking guy, and he made you do an hour-long fucking sweepers.
Yeah. Oh, and then you had to do the sweepers after the training too. Yeah, so,
yep.
Yeah.
I forgot all about sweepers. Dang.
Right. Bringing back a lot of memories here.
Yeah.
That fucking dude that we're talking about when we were in Dahlgren, that was my first ever interaction with him. And we were doing sweepers in the P-ways there. And I was just chilling because I was done. He's like, what are you doing standing around? It's like, I'm all done with sweepers. And then he poured his coffee out on the floor. And he goes, looks dirty to me. And walked away.
Those weekend duty days in Dahlgren I hated those. Like it was like because we had to do like those sweepers, and then we also had to like. Did you have to like redo the floors every weekend? Like,
yeah.
You had to wax the floors and shit.
Like re-wax the floors every weekend. I always like hated that shit.
Yeah.
Like all morning.
I just hate Dahlgren altogether.
Like ass afterwards. Like we never did it. It never looked good. Section did it. It always looked bad afterwards.
Yeah, dude. Fuck that. All right, DJ, what you got?
For me, it was finding out you're part of the work. Like getting told, someone walking into your space and going, hey, they need you on the working party. No matter what the working party is, you're guaranteed to have a miserable time. It could be taking stores down into the freezer and you're stuck on the stairs.
I hated that because it fucking stunk.
Yeah, it stunk. It was cold, or you're on the stairs and now you're at a terrible angle. The person in front of you is weak, or the person behind you is weak. So now you're doing double the work. Oh man. Or you're bringing in another ship. You're the line for another ship. So you're sitting out there 2 hours early before the ship pulls in just to do the work. And then you still got to go back and do your working day. Like that's the biggest thing. You're doing extra work and you're still required to do all the work that you need. Not like part of the working party. Someone fills in for it's you're part of the working party and do your other work. So that was the worst case scenario. Somebody coming in, hey, we got more work. Couldn't stand.
Yeah,
they were never good.
Yep.
It's such an inconvenience almost all the time. It was always during like a work. There was like a working party during like everything else in the world. Like there was so many other things going on, and it was like, oh, you also need to provide a body to go help some other, department with no relation to y'all right now. With some of their shit too.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I remember Chief coming into Caesar 2 while we were all sitting in there during a working party, and he just opened the door and stared at us. And I was like, fuck, this is not good.
Bro, I used to skate a lot. I'm gonna be completely honest.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, we all tried.
I was like, fuck it. Dude, Caesar 2 was the greatest spot for that all the time.
Hell yeah. All right, what do you got, Castro?
All right. So sort of piggybacking off of the working party thing is the or I guess it's not really piggybacking it off that all, but I was thinking of like ATG inspections, 3M inspections, all of that shit.
Oh,
Because like when we're talking
That
about like inconveniences and things like that really just added fucking a level of pain to your day.
yeah.
Especially those 3M inspections, like
Yo, InServe, that shit.
Yeah, like InServe too, but where they had to like pick apart your fucking basically any binder that you own. So like training binders, your fucking maintenance binders, like dude, I hated those because it seemed like it happened. Like you would finish an inspection and then there would be another inspection.
Did you guys ever have to come in on the weekends to do those?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
For InServe, I had to come in on Saturday.
Yep.
I hated that. I absolutely hated that.
That was the thing. I think the biggest thing about that, like now that you bring that up, that might have been to my number because it was never just a one day. Talking about like days to weeks leading up to the event. So for the 3 weeks prior, you're all working late. And then right before the event, you're working weekends. So it was like one event caused the entire month to be stressful, terrible experience. And it was like that for every event. Honestly, now that you said that, I would make that.
Dog, and sometimes and I feel like the irony of it all was like sometimes those events, like those like actual like the days of certifications or like whatever would actually happen, and they would be completely underwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like the inspectors would come on board and end up being like usually this was not the case with ATG. Like usually ATG was actually like some motherfuckers, but like any sort of other off-ship entity that came on to like inspect us for anything, like we would like put in all this preparation and work, and they would come on board and they'd be like the coolest people, and they'd just be like, yeah, like we just want to see like the basic check, like it would, or like they would want to see like the most like fundamental thing, and they'd be like, yeah, y'all are good, and then they would just say and like cut up, but yeah, it'd be like weeks of work and like leading up to this shit, and then it was just no end game because there would be another certification right behind it. And it would be like it would be the same exact thing. It would just be for like a different like government entity or somebody. Like so like it wouldn't be ATG, it would be like CSCS, or it'd be like some, I don't know, like just throwing names out there, but it would just be like it'd be like the same thing, just like a different person.
Yep.
But it was always delivered as more important though. Everyone was always the most important one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God, I hated that. Like I remember going through that, like before the first deployment, you do all those workups and all those inspections, and you hit deployment, and then the second time around, you're like, "Oh, I know this game." Like,
yeah,
I know this one doesn't really matter. We can fail this one. We got like months before we actually have to pass these things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like those things are the sole reason why people end up saying like they enjoy going on deployment, because you don't have to.
But you don't got to worry about that shit. That's true.
Because that's like definitely the worst. Like that has got to be like the worst part about being in port.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Mike, what you got? What's your number 3?
Let's see here. Mine was being woken up for like while you're on the ship, whether it's by accident for a casualty or someone opening up your curtain or like knocking on your rack,
getting that flashlight.
Yeah, especially when it wasn't for something that they needed you for, when they're trying to find somebody else, and yet you're the one who gets woken up. Yep. God, that just made me livid.
Oh man!
But I mean, yeah, when it was you too, though, that sucked too, though, because then like you're like half asleep, especially when you had to go up to like, I mean, a lot of times I'd have to like go up to the bridge to go look at something, and I just remember I was telling this to someone the other day. I don't know about you guys, but ESS, we had to make a lot of on-calls up to the bridge. And I remember you'd walk up there and you couldn't see anything. So I would get up there and I would just hug the wall. And I'd sit there, no kidding, for 3 minutes, not saying a word until I could start seeing people walking around. Because all of a sudden you went from thinking nobody was up there. You'd see like 15 bodies up there just working. But I was just like in the corner, and every once in a while somebody would walk up and be like, "Are you all right?" He's like, "Yeah, just to get my eyes adjusted." It's like literally I'd just be hugging a wall because I didn't want to be in anybody's way. I had no idea how to find what I was looking for until like I could see.
Oh,
but God, I hated that though. That was the absolute like getting woken up. I mean, obviously it's not the worst. It's only
pretty.
bad.
But that's still pretty bad.
That did suck.
That's really.
So that kind of goes into my number 2. My number 2 is dealing with incompetent ass people on the ship. And let me explain this a little bit. So like getting a trouble call to go up to the fucking bridge at midnight because their console's not turning on, and I get up there and the entire fucking console is wrapped in duct tape. And then I asked why the fuck it was wrapped in duct tape, and they were like, "Oh, EXO said it was too bright, so we covered it." I was like, "So you motherfuckers called me up here saying the console's not working, but you knew it was covered in fucking duct tape?"
I can't understand this.
Right? I'm trying to break
situation.
It down.
So this is good. Hopefully I have somebody from the Cole on here soon that can that was visible for this. But I thought I was going to get kicked out of the Navy at this particular moment. I got up. So we had the Bright Bridge console on the bridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
I go up there because they said that it wasn't working. And this was daytime in port. They were doing some type of scenario and they couldn't get the Bright Bridge to work. So I go up there and I'm looking at it. And the Bright Bridge console, for some reason, is haze gray. And I'm looking at it and I was like, did you guys paint the console? And they were like, what? I was like, wait. Because the QMs were painting on the bridge. I was like, did you guys paint the console haze gray? They were like, well, yeah, it was all like chipped. And I was like, wait a minute. You put fucking paint on in a piece of electronics. They painted it and the paint seeped into the console.
Oh man.
Like, because these consoles get powder coated, right? They're not painted with fucking haze gray outside the ship paint. So the QM chief that was in charge of them was like, well, I told them to paint it because, the powder coating was chipped. I was like, so you decided to take it upon yourself to paint equipment that wasn't yours. And then I'm like heated, right? So I was like, can I, you guys need to page my Divo up here. Like, because I'm about to lose it. So I had my Divo come up and he looked at it and he looked at me and he was like, he knew immediately that it didn't look right. Like there's paint dripping from it. Like it was so bad. And I'm screaming at the chief and the chief is like kind of staring at me like, cause he knew he fucked up. And then he's like, well, you shouldn't be talking to a chief like that. I was like, you shouldn't be a fucking chief. You are dumb. And I remember my chief talked to me later. He's like, yo, you can't be talking to chiefs like that. I was like, he's fucking, excuse my language. I was like, he's fucking retarded. And then he's like, listen, there was like a string in the 90s. They kind of let special people into the Navy and they just, he's like, he goes, and he's one of the ones that stayed in. I don't know if that was true, but I always like, okay, that explains it.
That is terrible.
But incompetent as people that fuck up your shit and now you have to deal with it. That's my number 2.
Wow. That's a good one. I still can't. That duct tape story is still just really weird to me.
Yo, I'll never or you get called up to the bridge and their brightness was just turned down so they couldn't see the screen. That shit happens all the time.
But that's not as bad as someone painting stuff or duct taping it.
Or you remember the CWO? What was the CWO4? You know what I'm talking about? He had like the thick Southern accent.
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember.
You're talking about the cool dude?
He used to stand watching combat.
You're talking about Warren Foster.
Yeah.
Warren Foster was a man.
Yo,
watch,
but
now Foster's listening to this going, huh?
He pissed me the fuck off though, because he called me up that his trackball wasn't working one time. I took it out. There was a wad of lint like this big in the trackball. And I was like, what the fuck is this? He goes, where else you want me to put my belly button lint? And I was like, yo, he was picking his nasty ass belly button and sticking it into the trackball until it wouldn't fucking move.
Yo,
no.
I feel like
I think he was just making a joke, right?
He had to be making a joke.
Well, all I know is that the one time that other fucking douchebag we were talking about was cool is he made CWO4 take our procedure for cleaning the trackball and made him clean it. So.
Oh damn.
We did.
He was doing something.
Shit in the consoles in combat, man.
Yeah, that shit was nasty.
Oh.
But
like really gross.
Yeah. All right. What's your number 2, DJ?
My number 2 was we already talked about it, but it was looking for your relief in your relief. so we don't have to dive too much.
Yeah, that fucking sucks. What you got, Castro?
Dog, one of the most defeating things is going to the store or the vending machine and them not having your snack or your soda. Specific, especially like the vending, like the store was one thing, but like, okay, when the store didn't have shit, then you're like, all right, well, we got the vending machines, and you're always just like, I hope the Reese's are in there. I hope there's a fucking like I don't know, whatever soda you wanted.
Yeah.
And most of the time, the case was it wasn't, and it was really defeating because it was like you'd hit it right before your watch or something.
Yep.
So you'd be like, all right, I'm gonna hit this, grab a quick, Mountain Dew before the watch or whatever, and then it just wouldn't be there, and you'd be like, well, fuck, I guess I gotta drink this like strawberry Fanta, and it would be like really gross.
Yo, you guys remember the Haji like sodas and candy bars? How fucking good those were.
The Red Bulls were phenomenal. Like,
let's go on the record and be politically correct and just.
Oh yeah, that's not right. That's not
right. I'm not sure where it was from, but yes, the
international brand. Yo, there's Snickers. I remember there was a Snickers from the Middle East, and it was like it was like it didn't taste like a Snickers. It was fucking. It was like s'mores flavored, dude. It was amazing.
The sodas, all the sodas tasted way better.
They
for
did.
Sure. And
the banana juice. Do you guys ever drink that banana juice?
Dude, the banana juice was sick.
No,
yeah,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, we used to.
I don't remember that.
I know y'all was saying, but it was good, dude. It was real good.
Fort IC, we'd have stashes down there. Like we would just have gallons of banana juice.
Well, I don't think they got it from the store on the ship. I think they were buying it from like the next, like when we pull into Bahrain or something, and then they were like stocking up on it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, God, that stuff was so good.
All right, what you got for number 2, Mike?
Unexpected watch. So when you would already look at the watch bill, you weren't on it. And all of a sudden, someone would come find you and say, "Hey, I need you to stand this." And it always sucked because it was because someone didn't have their uniform, or all of a sudden someone got sick, like, an hour before they're supposed to stand watch. So you thought, because you had because you have work you still have to do. And so you're planning out your day. You do certain things because you're like, all right, I can go work on this and then head to bed. Like, especially when you think you're done for the night. Like, you're like, all right, I'm done. I stood my watch. Like, everything's good. And then you find out that they need you to stand another one. That is such a horrible feeling.
Yep. That is.
Getting woken up for that.
Yep. Fuck. Yeah, that's
we've all been there. We've all been told.
It's like, well, you got to stand another one. And it's like, you just want to like fucking take that person and choke them.
Oh, yeah.
They're just a messenger, but they're like, I don't know what to tell you, dog. Dude.
Fuck.
Yeah, especially when you switch to sister section too. And then you had that because people were going, I didn't know I had watch.
Didn't they make sister section stand like the first 2 watches of the day eventually?
Yeah.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah, but somebody who was on sister section wouldn't have their uniform on board for whatever reason. Yeah, supposedly.
All right, guys. So this moves into my number 1. Mine is being relieved late on watch. I hate it. It's fucking. I'm gonna give you guys a scenario right now. Right, you're standing the 2 to 7. Right, you know that you have a bunch of shit to do that morning. And you get relieved so late that you don't even get breakfast. And now you got to go deal with the fucking bullshit maintenance or whatever tasking you have for the day. And you already stood, 7 hours of watch instead of 5. You didn't get breakfast. You're fucking aggravated. There's probably a combat systems casualty on top of that. Like, it's just a bad fucking day. Like, dude, getting relieved late is, we talked about it a lot, but that's my number 1. I hate it.
Without going back into the whole watch thing, later on we got a chief who understood 2 to 7 was the worst, especially in those type of scenarios. So it got to the point where it was like he was really chill about, hey, you had the 2 to 7, you're out of here early. Talking about like 12 o'clock, you're out of here early, because he understood that the 2 to 7 ruins everything for the rest. You've already had a long work.
You're already sweaty from the vest.
And so it was, you're out of here early today, or it was, hey, you hit your rack early today, so he would get a late sleepers or whatever. Because people who've been through that should understand. Like,
Yeah,
you're not going to be affected. That's it. You're done. So.
Yeah. So, what's your number one, DJ?
Number one, hands down, has got to be, you're about to pull out. You're about to bounce out you're about to hit Liberty. You're about to do whatever. Chief tells you no one has Liberty. Because hands down, that is the quickest way to ruin your entire mood going into a weekend, going into Liberty, going into your rack. It does not matter. Because once you're told that, you now have to do a task in a bad mood, knowing that everyone else around you is going the rest of the day and wherever you're at, and you're just mad because and like, that's at the end of the day something that's not that important, but it's important to your chief or your first class whatever, and it just higher mood forward.
So I had that as an honorable mention, and I'm kind of mad that I didn't have it on my list, because I'm thinking particularly us asking that chief for Liberty and then being like, well, did you guys needle gun the Spidex yet? It's like, you never told us to needle gun the fucking Spidex. So now we're up there doing topside fucking prez in like Bahrain and 120 degrees. Dude, I'm getting mad just thinking about that, actually.
And for what? Like, that was
like,
the biggest
thing.
It
could wait till we pull out.
It really could. It's infuriating.
Yep.
Once I was the reason my group had to stay behind, and I felt pretty bad about that.
Mike.
Yeah, I know. I was currently in school, but nobody else knew how to work on the whiskeys. So they had saved them all for me. And like, I ended up working out a deal with my chief where he'd let me take this leave over supposedly a really busy period. I had to come in after school and work on these whiskeys so they could get caught up on maintenance. And I shocked myself on one of the whiskeys.
Oh, no.
Like, the very last one I was working on. It would have been fine, except one of my shipmates was there and he saw the entire thing and he tattled on me.
Oh,
so
man.
then I had to go up to medical, and then they refused to let anyone go home until I was cleared. And this is at like 1600, maybe later.
Damn.
That was the worst because it was like the weekend. Everyone was ready to go home. And I didn't have a lot of friends that day. I can tell you that.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I wanted to just bury myself. I was so embarrassed.
I remember that I was the reason why your Liberty was held up in actually our first time going out in New Orleans.
Because, Me?
Oh.
No. Rennick. Like, I know that I was tasked to do something last minute. Once again, that could wait because it did not matter. And we were in a Liberty party together. And because of that, you had to wait like an extra 3 hours or so before we could even leave out that day.
Yeah.
It was stupid. And it's like the entire time I'm feeling guilty. I can't do anything about it. I'm just like, go out. But of course, at that point, it got to a point where there was nobody else to go out with, even so it like you were stuck, and I just felt awful.
Oh, we had fun.
Yeah, good time though. Good time.
Yeah, New Orleans was awesome. But all right, Castro, what's your number one? What's the worst thing?
So I don't know if I like structured my list from like worst or like number one worst to the least worst, but so I kind of like had to figure out a new number one that it would fit. But I guess honestly, like my number one like worst thing that I hated was probably birthing cleaners.
Birthing cleaners.
Birthing cleaners.
I know. We talked like a lot of like. I know. I don't know. Like we were talking about inconveniences, and I was like, dude, for me personally, like especially like when I don't know, like there was points where like, again, like there was so much more important shit going on. And they're like, yeah, well, you still got to find somebody for birthing cleaners, and I was like, dude, you got to be kidding me.
Or how about seeing the Gunners mates? And hey, I know there's fucking Gunners mates listening to this, you assholes. This is like this on both of my ships. Y'all be sitting on the couch watching TV, and as soon as birthing cleaners starts, you guys disappear. And then as soon as birthing cleaners ends, they were back on the fucking couch.
Oh my god, I hated that so much.
Oh, dude. I wanted to kill all the Gunners mates every time I saw that happen.
Exactly. Call them out. every gunner's mate listening to this,
You guys
all
know.
do the same thing.
You know damn well what you did.
It was always them, and it was always the FCs too. Not you guys.
The
what's the
CG.
other-
yeah. See, it's just CG division.
Yeah, CG 100%. I wonder if that's like every ship. Do you think it's just
No, seriously, both of my ships, CG division, would fucking dodge birthing cleaners like the plague.
No.
You know, I don't hate that pick actually, because birthing cleaners does suck. But all right, what's your number one, Mike?
Having your leave denied.
Ooh.
That was the worst feeling.
Can I change my list? Can I change?
How about getting your terminal leave denied?
Ooh,
I had that happen.
Really?
I asked for 2 months of terminal, and they only gave me 1.
Dang. I remember I had leave approved for like 2 months to go to my sister's wedding. And then like 2 weeks before it was supposed to happen, they canceled it on me.
What?
Yeah, because they had to send someone to school, and for 2M school the first time, and everybody, like 6 people volunteered to go, but I was the one person who said, "Don't send me. I got plans," and they sent me, so I had to cancel my leave.
And
Damn.
the thing that people will never understand is like those moments that's the end of it, and you don't get to experience it. And years go by, and they all talk about those memories, and you have to tell them, "Yeah, I couldn't go because I had to learn." And that's the thing about it. Like on a serious note, I missed my best friend's wedding. I missed my wife's graduation. I missed my mom's funeral. There's like serious events that you miss for what the higher chain of command thinks is important, but down the road, like I literally don't even remember what I missed those events for. I do know that I missed those events, but I have no idea what it's for, and that it takes a lot away from you. It really does.
Yeah.
So that's why I honestly would leave that's a good number one. That is a strong number.
Especially now as a civilian working, like when I don't want to go into work, I just text my boss and I'm like, "Hey, I'm taking a day today." That's it.
Yeah.
I just don't go into work that day, and you earn these days, these time off. Yo, when the first 2 weeks on the ship, my son was born. The same day my son was born, my grandfather died. And I tried to get back to his funeral, and the ship didn't believe me that my grandfather died. And then I asked to like get up there for the funeral and everything that was going on. And they were like, well, they wouldn't let me take extra leave. I was already on, I think it was less than a week to see my son being born, which they gave me a hard time about. And I had to take my last day of leave to fly back, see my grandfather's funeral, and then fly back to the ship before my leave expired because they wouldn't extend it because my grandfather died.
Yeah.
It's like what? I'm new to the ship. I can't even do anything.
It's crazy.
I'm useless to you guys.
It really is crazy. And that's the thing. Like I want to make sure that everybody listening, this is not just a dog on the military. There's a lot of great moments. There's a lot of
there are.
It's just one of those things where it's just, we all feel strong about this same one thing because we all have memories tied to this same thing.
Yo, my terminal to come here, I had to find a house in New Jersey, right? Like we're in Virginia. So we drove up to New Jersey like a couple weekends just to like look for houses. And I wanted to use leave. It got denied. But my LPO was like, hey, listen, if you want, like, you can go up there for the weekend and use like a special Liberty chit. I'll route it for you. He's like, you go up to New Jersey, you'll be good. I get up to New Jersey. There was a giant engineering casualty. They collapsed the 3 duty section. And my sister section was on duty. So he called me in New Jersey and he's like, hey, you got to come back to the ship. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, oh, there's a big engineering casualty. They collapsed the 3-section duty because of it. I was like, dude, I just got to New Jersey. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I was like, dude, I got my kids, my wife. I'm not fucking driving back to Virginia. He's like, well, I mean, you're on duty now and they just put you on watch. And I was like, who the fuck was standing the watch originally?
Right?
Like, how the fuck do I get put on watch? I didn't go back. I went back that Monday and took the counseling shit, but like, fuck, man.
Man.
Yeah, I was in Michigan once where they tried to recall me. because it was like a hurricane was coming, and supposedly they had sent too many people on leave, so they didn't have like the Navy amount to actually pull out and like do something like that. I remember I drove there too. It's not even like I flew because this was like 10 days of leave I was on, and this is like the very first day. Like I just got to Michigan that day, and they were trying to make me come back. And I was like, "There's no way." I was like, "I drove here." I physically cannot get there in time for you guys to pull out. And thank God I didn't get in trouble for it. But it put my vacation off on a very bad note.
Every time.
Shit, maybe man. This is like the universal number.
Yeah,
one.
exactly. Right. Yeah. Man, that was a good number one because
that was good. That was good.
Yeah, I remember. And that like specifically, there was a lot of hurricanes coming back. Like there was a lot of like hurricanes that kept popping up, and we had just gotten back from that deployment, and it was like we also had to like go to Maine for that dumb shit.
Lobster Fest.
Oh, Lobster Fest. Hey.
So I remember we kept like pulling out for like we got home, and then we had to like keep going out to sea for like a week or two at a time for like different hurricanes. Like one of them was like for Maria. And then there was like another, like that was one of the time, dude. Yeah, that was a really bad time. That was miserable.
I'll say though, Maine, stupid overall. However, Camden, I had a great blueberry beer. Ooh.
No, like Salty Dog, the Sea Dog. What was it called? Yeah, that was good stuff. I guess along
cursed. That entire trip cursed.
Man. In the same vein, though. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. You go first. I was
going to say, in the same vein, when you were sick, kind of what you were talking about, you still had to show up to the ship. You couldn't just tell them, like, hey, I'm sick. I can't come in today. You had to get approved by the ship doctor that you were actually sick.
I have that as an honorable mention. I was going to say, yo, okay. Castro should remember this. On the way home from Mardi Gras, you remember I got fucking food poisoning? I was dying in my rack, and they had to carry me to medical.
You're like hallucinating,
dude. Actually. I was fucking out of it, and they had to put me on like an IV, and you had to go to the pier and get Ashley to like come onto the ship to help me off the ship because they wouldn't let me leave the ship by myself because I was fucked up because I ate. I remember what it was. There were those fucking meatballs that the Mestex used to make that had rice in the meatballs.
Yeah.
And they like didn't get cooked all the way. I got food poisoning. And then they thought that I like stashed alcohol from Mardi Gras on the ship. And I was trying to tell them like I don't drink. I don't have alcohol stashed on the ship. But yeah, when you say you're sick and they don't believe you, or you have to you have to go to sick call on base, get an SIQ kit, then bring it to the ship so that the ship knows. I'm like, motherfuckers, like I'm sick. I'm an adult. Yeah. Fuck. Do you guys have any honorable mentions or anything you want to say for this?
Of course. Seasickness.
Seasickness. I got that.
Seasickness. That was I like that could easily be a top 5 for me. But
it could.
Like that was. It only happened every time we pulled up, but then after a while it went away.
Yeah. I also got the CO calling you or your chain of command over the 1MC because that was never like a good thing. Did you guys ever have that happen?
No.
Not maybe for like those things, just EF division muster type thing. Not like personally.
I heard I told this story on another podcast. I'm not going to get into it deep here because I plan on doing it on a later episode. But basically, I heard the CO called my department head, my divo, my chief. He called the CSMM and my LPO down to Aux 1.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, that's not good. That story, that's a bad fucking day. And I was sitting in season 2. I was like, I should grab the daily and get down there.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Oh.
And I mean, I'll go into it more, but dude, it was bad. It was bad. I was convinced that that there's 2 times where I was like, oh, I might get kicked out of the Navy. I thought that was a time, and it wasn't even my fault. But I was like, if I do go down for this, I'm gonna give them a reason to separate. So, yeah, that sucks. Or hearing, oh, hey, shipmate, when in like a bad tone behind you, and you're like, man, what the fuck is happening right now? Like that's a shitty feeling too. You're like, what did I do? But
I had a love-hate with Topside P.
yeah, Topside P. Fuck Topside P.
I liked like the work itself, but like also on the same token, another fucking thing that was just like no end game in sight because you would just have to do it again in 3 months.
Yep.
Actually, I didn't mind it. Throw on some headphones. Didn't have to do any spy work, so
I liked it. Like I liked doing the work, but there was also so much effort involved with doing it, like
that's
running a
true.
loft,
Yeah.
doing all like the fucking administrative work and like getting equipment tagged out just so we can go up and maybe do like an hour worth of topside pres.
Going to all the ships on the pier to get their signatures and
Yeah, and then you finally get set up and you go to the BMs to try to get some paint, and the fucking dude that runs the paint locker is not even there, so you can't even do it.
Yep.
There were so many hoops to jump through, and then you finally like get to the point where you're about to start work, and then something just shuts the whole shit down.
How about on my second ship, we had to paint the inside of like one of the fan rooms, and I got paint and I forgot to get hardener for the paint. So the paint never dried.
Oh no.
So I painted the deck. You remember that red color of the fan rooms? So I painted it red, and I told my guys, I was like, all right, go check it in like an hour, see where it's at. Because we had to get an inspection that day. So I was like, let's get it painted in the morning. And then that way, by the time inspection rolls around with the CO, it'll be good to go. And I went up there, dude, that shit looked wet as fuck. I was like, how didn't this happen? And I'm looking, I was like, fuck, I never got hardener in the paint. The CO came in to inspect it, and he got red footprints all down the P-way.
Oh.
We were in charge of the whole P-way after that.
Wow.
They fucked the paint up, and like we would like put paint down, and it wouldn't dry, or it would dry tacky.
Yep.
And it never ended. It was a project that never ended well. Never looked good.
Yeah, dude, topside pres. The other thing I was gonna say is when you get roped into helping fix somebody's shit that you don't own, like at all. Like, oh, Spy has a casualty. Everybody has to stay and help Spy.
Man, I already knew where this was going.
Oh, it was going.
That's why I didn't say anything. You
motherfuckers. Yo, second ship. Again, I always got roped into all this shit. We pulled into Dubai. They let the spy techs go on Liberty while the rest of CF Division had to stay and fix Spy's equipment because they were up all night troubleshooting. I was like, so shouldn't they fucking finish fixing their gear?
Man, get out of here, man. Look.
We had to replace a high voltage cable that went from forward power all the way up to the array room. They called tech reps in to help us. This was a job for the yards, they told us. And we had to do this by ourselves while all the spy techs got Liberty in Dubai.
Rinnick and I had the worst time in Dubai.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. That was the worst. We had to fix that engineering stuff. They had, God, I can't remember what they were, but they had like these power supplies. I think I've told the story before, but I think they brought up like 8 or 12 of them, and they said they needed 4 of them to work, otherwise the ship couldn't get underway. And me and Castro were up for, I don't know, like 30 hours, I think, like trying to fix those things.
What was it, like 2M?
Yeah, like we had we had to like open them up and like scan them and try to figure out if we could like make good ones out of all these. I don't even think that they knew which ones were good and which ones were bad. And it was
we were like going component to component, just checking to see if it was like good. And
those base shift drivers, those ones, right?
I can't remember what
they were, like the power supplies for like the control modules for like the GTM.
Oh, okay. Never.
We didn't have the ship didn't have a working shaft.
Gotcha.
And they needed like 4 of these things to work, and just me and Rinnick, I think they weren't even in like the program, like the scanning program or anything like that, and it was such a hopeless effort. But basically, almost the entire Dubai trip, like me and Rinnick were just stuck on the ship. Like we didn't really get to do anything.
Because I remember.
Go on.
I was gonna say I remember you, Rinnick, having another job, base shift drivers, right? And you had to do that for like 3 days. We're trying to fix every single one so that we could put it back in our array. We're sitting there telling you like, oh, we don't want to give this to you, but we have to. And then it was just like this back and forth thing where you kept getting more work, and then finally you were like, yeah, I fixed it, and you were proud of your work, and we had to sit there and give you the notice like, I want to buy it. Just like I saw all the soul leaving your body, and I just felt awful, and you were just defeated. You just like went into the room and like shut the door. I was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I do remember. I forgot about that. I blocked that one out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that destroyed me. Yeah, but no, the one me and Marcus were working on. Every hour, somebody new that was outranked us would come in and check up on us. Whether it was like we had the CO, the XO, like MPA, like everybody once an hour was it, where we at? It's like, still working.
Just like we're just.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, Dubai kind of sucked anyway. So, yeah. I mean, like the mall had a ski slope in it. There's your highlight. I couldn't even do it because at least for us, they were like, ORM, you guys can't go on the ski slope.
That mall was just too big and overwhelming for me.
And it was mad expensive too. Everything was fucking expensive.
There was nothing to do.
Abu Dhabi was cooler than Dubai.
Abu Dhabi was on point. A lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yo, me and Jake one time I think we had Shore Patrol together, and we just sat in the Starbucks and drank pumpkin spice lattes the whole time.
Shore Patrol should have definitely been like a top 5 good, because when you got Shore Patrol on deployment, you were like, dude, this is fuck. Especially if you had like a cool person. Like,
you know what sucked was bus duty.
Bus duty was whack.
Yeah, I just read comics.
Same. I did the same, but it sucked, dude. Especially if you got a shitty bus driver.
Dude, I had a bus driver that like snuck off one time, and we got food. Like it definitely wasn't allowed, but like we like went and like got like a food like somewhere like Shake Shack or some shit, and then
that's tight.
Pulled right back up to the next and like was just picking people up like nothing happened.
Man, I never got either of those watches.
Sorry.
No, I was always ECP or topsider over. I never got to do any of that cool stuff.
Sorry about that, buddy.
Oh, it's all good.
But yeah, I think this was a cool episode, especially ranking. You get to tell stories and stuff. So I think this was successful. If people really liked it, I'd like to do more of these with different topics. Maybe get one. I'd like to do one day that has somebody from each branch, and we do some type of ranking system for that, like a Navy, an Air Force, Marines, and Army guy, and we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Thanks guys for joining me. I had fun, and hope you guys enjoyed it too.